Welcome to Inside High School Sports with your host, Alex Brasky. Brought to you by A.B. Cole Real Estate Incorporated. Let their team of real estate professionals help you find your next property.
All right, here with Avon senior Joleigh Crye, one of Avon's top athletes over the years. He's a 5-year varsity swimmer, has set records across the board in the pool, but she's also a multi-sport athlete, which makes her accomplishments even more remarkable. Jolie, can you just take us back to where it all began in the pool and your entire athletic career? But let's start specifically in the pool. Where did your success begin and where did your swimming career start?
Growing up, my mom was a big swimmer. She swam at UB, so she always wanted me to get into swimming, and my dad always pushed me to get in softball, and I always did small recreational programs when I was younger, but then swimming and softball really stood out for me. So then I started doing club when I was around 7 or 6 years old, and then I kind of just, my mom was my coach, and we kind of just took off from there and started doing more intense practices, and that's where it all started.
So it's really been over a decade in the pool for you. When did you realize that you had the ability to do something special in the sport of swimming? Like you said, you knew you had the pedigree with your mother, a former college swimmer, but when did you realize that you had what it took to really go above and beyond in the pool?
Growing up, I would always do meets and I'd be one of the better swimmers, but then when we went to meets out of state, we would do a national meet or Eastern zones, and when I stood out at that one when I was around 11, that's when I knew I was going to pursue this and I was going to keep pushing this and I would be one of the top athletes.
Now, what do you think was the most significant factor in your growth as a swimmer and your rise to the success that you found in the pool? What does it take to reach such great heights as you have? You've set records across the board, as I mentioned before. You've actually set pool records and program records in every event here at Avon, except for the 500 freestyle. You've won sectional championships, I believe, 4 years or 5 years in a row. It began with the 200 medley relay and then with the 100 butterfly the past 2 seasons. What is the most significant factor, and what do you attribute your great success to over the years?
Definitely my mom. She got me into swimming when I was so young, and I wouldn't be able to be participating as well as I'm doing right now if I hadn't had the build up and foundation from when I was younger in swimming. So yeah, just starting younger, I'd say, and hard work, just always pushing yourself.
Now, we just spoke with your coach a moment ago, and he mentioned that hard work that you've put in over the years and how much that has meant to your success. Just your willingness to be here early in the morning after practice and go the extra mile during those practice hours. How do you motivate yourself every day to continuously put in that effort, not only in the pool, but as your coach said, you really put that effort in across 3 sports. So I guess it's a 2-pronged question. How do you motivate yourself every day to do it? And then how do you motivate yourself to do it across 3 sports?
Yeah, so just going from practice to practice, putting in that hard work in, you always have a goal in the back of your head. Going into this season, my goal was not making states because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do that, and I didn't want to put that pressure on myself. But just doing it for yourself and putting in your 100% every day and walking out of practice knowing you're leaving, putting your best foot out today and doing your best that day.
Now, you made the state championships this year. You were the only female swimmer to participate in the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Championships. You had your own locker room. It was really an exciting experience, I'm sure, for you, and a great accomplishment that, like you said, you had been looking forward to. What was that moment like when you walked into the pool with all the other swimmers and you realized, wow, I did it?
It was definitely an emotional experience, knowing, not only am I the only girl here, but, I'm also making history for, other girls, knowing to push themselves and they can get here too, it is possible. But it was just crazy, seeing all those guys there and some people, they would like look at me and then they would have to look back again. They were surprised that I was there, but it was so fun, and it was just a great experience.
Now, of all the accomplishments that you've achieved over the years, where do you rank that one? Is that above and beyond? I mean, you didn't finish atop the podium at states as you have at sectionals time and again and in the league championships, but I'm sure that kind of ranks above and beyond. Is that correct? Where do you place that accomplishment?
That is 100% my greatest accomplishment. Since 8th grade, it's been my goal. I've set my goals on making states. When our relay missed the state cut by .05, and since then I've always wanted to go to states. It would just be a huge accomplishment for me, and it was just such an emotional experience, like hitting that wall and seeing my time, and like knowing that like I did what I put my foot out to do, and I did what I set out to do.
Now, take us back to those years of winning those championships in the 200 medley relay. Maybe shout out a few of your teammates that you had along the way during those years. But the question that I have is how did those moments prepare you to achieve individual success down the road? You reached the championship level with your teammates there in the relays, and then down the road you were able to accomplish that individual championship in the 100 butterfly. Did the talents and the mentality that you learned swimming in that championship environment help you down the road when it came to those relays and then the individual success later in the butterfly?
Yeah, 100%. Like just knowing what it's like to compete with these great athletes next to you and having them by your side in the relays. Joleigh Crye, he always pushed me at practice, and he was just a great teammate. He was so supportive. Just seeing his success made me want to work harder in those, especially in those relays, like knowing I had him there. Sean Cochran, he always pushed me hard in practice. Even like when I had a bad swim, he'd always take a second and be like, "It's okay, you got this." And he was just so supportive. And just the support of those teammates is greater than their success, like having them there for me. And definitely when I was in 8th grade and we just missed that state cut, that was kind of like the first time like I set out to do something and it didn't go as I wanted to do. So just knowing that you're gonna win some and lose some, you're not gonna meet your goal every time. So just preparing for myself for that, and it's also nice when you do win a sectional event or like knowing what success feels like. So they taught me that.
All right, now moving beyond your team success with the relays, you reached that championship level in the 100 butterfly back-to-back seasons. What was the feeling like? Was it any different, the individual success as opposed to the team success, and what helped you get there? You answered a little bit in the past response, but was there anything different that you had to do to achieve that individual success, and was there a different mentality you had to have going into those individual championship runs?
Since 8th grade, I wasn't as good as I was, so there was guys that were able to beat me, and just going to practice every day, knowing that I'm working hard for this, to win this event, to beat the guys, and knowing that they don't have to work as hard as me, and knowing that I'm working harder than them. It's frustrating, but at the end of the day, it's worth it, and it pushes me to get me where I'm at. So winning that individual event is just so it's more rewarding than it would be if I was racing the girls 100%. I know I would do good at girls states, but making guys states was just more rewarding for me.
Now, I was going to ask you about that. It's a little bit different here in Section 5. The girls' swimming season takes place in the fall. In the winter, it's the boys' swimming season. So is there any disappointment there that you don't have your own season? Or is it just, like you said, just you find it more fulfilling when you do find that success in a boys' competition?
Sometimes I'll look at like the results from the state meet at girls and I'll get frustrated. I'm like, oh, I could have done really well. Like I could have been top 3 on the podium or top 5, but just being able to compete against the guys, that pushes me further. Just that, like knowing I have to work so much harder just to be there, and like making sectionals for a girl, even if for guys or for boys season, it's just so rewarding itself, let alone making states. So just knowing that I have to push myself harder, like the hard work, it pays off better when you're racing the guys.
Now, you already talked about some of the support that you've received from your coach and your past teammates, your current teammates, but just around the Avon community and here at the school, have you felt that support as a girl in a boys sport? I'm sure it can be a little isolated at times, but when you have that community support, I'm sure it can kind of warm me up to the idea of kind of being the only girl in the pool against boys. But what has that support been like, and has it always been there for you, and what role has it played in your success here in swimming?
The guys on the team have been nothing but like supportive and glad we're there, and they love competing against us and racing against us, because at the end of the day we push them hard too, alongside of they push us. So just having them and the coaches, like the atmospheres, we're just a family. Like throughout the season, we do team dinners and stuff. We get together, we hang out, and we all just love each other. It's a family atmosphere, 100%.
Now, moving back to your multi-sport accolades and exploits, how much do you feel being a multi-sport athlete has helped you along the way? Like you said, you were never as good as you were this year when you were in 8th grade. I'm sure you had to do some growing into your body and growing as an athlete as well. And that growth as an athlete specifically, how much do you think being a multi-sport athlete helped you grow as an athlete? And what specifically did you take away from other sports that you brought here to the pool, and maybe vice versa?
The thing that I definitely took away most from my other sports is just team atmosphere and how to be a good teammate, how to be coachable. Throughout all my sports, just having the coaches there for me has been one of the greatest, like they're my best role models, and having them in my life has transferred over to my academics, let alone my swimming. So just like knowing that I have people that have my back is probably the best thing. And knowing that and taking my swimming standpoint and using that hard work and putting it into softball and using it in cross country, it makes me better in swimming and softball and cross country.
Now, moving forward into the spring season, you play those 3 sports, cross country, then swimming, and then softball. You found great success on the softball field, a couple of no-hitters, and you have a game coming up later today, so who knows, maybe another no-hitter coming up later today. But just what are some of the changes that you experience from season to season, and what are some of the skills that you learn in each sport that transfer over and allow you to become such a well-rounded athlete and a 3-sport athlete that's achieved so much?
So swimming and softball, they're completely different, as in one requires like coordination, one's like speed, but at the end of the day, they're both, you work hard, you put your all in, and I think that transfers over for all my sports, whether it's cross country, swimming, or softball. Growing up, I've always had swimming and softball, so not one stood above the other until like I was like, okay, I want to pursue swimming in college. And going into college, softball is definitely going to be the thing I'm going to miss the most about high school and my high school career, and club softball, just giving that up is going to be really hard, but I'm excited for Cincinnati also.
All right, now you look forward after high school's over. What do you anticipate coming up for you at the next level? Are you going to continue your swimming career? If so, where? And where do you see your future taking you?
I'm super excited. I'm continuing my swimming career at the University of Cincinnati and using their facilities, and I really think they'll be able to take me to the next level with my swimming, and I'm super excited.
Now, just to wrap this interview up, your time at Avon is coming to a close. You're in your final varsity season here during the spring. What are you going to miss most about your time in a Braves uniform and competing alongside your teammates and your coaches that you've looked up to over the years? Just what are some of the things that you're going to miss from being an Avon athlete?
Something I'll miss from being an Avon athlete is just the family atmosphere that I was given from all my sports, regardless of which one it was. And all my teammates and my coaches, like, they've got me to where I'm going and where I'm at right now. And I'm definitely going to miss swimming softball and cross country. But I'm really happy with the time I had here as an Avon Brave and doing all those sports.
Now, last question. Do you have a bit of advice that you could share with us for future athletes and current athletes that you've competed with and against? you've reached the highest level. What does it take to get there, and what do you need to focus on in order to get the most out of your athletic ability and your time as a high school athlete?
Always just work hard and put your best foot forward. Put your 100% every day. Something that I've been trying to preach is, regardless of the circumstances or the odds that are against you. For example, my odds that were against me were that I was racing guys. So I just want other girls out there to know that they have the ability to do this, and no matter like what the odds are against them, that they can put their best foot forward and work hard every day and get to where they want to be.
All right, Joleigh Crye, Avon 3-sport athlete, sectional champion, and just phenomenal all-around athlete in all three of her sports. Thank you for joining us here this afternoon.